and welcome to Liberty Nation's LNTV. I'm your host, Mark Angelides. Now, for those of you that don't follow the Hollyweird gossip scandals, this latest revelation may be of some news to you. We're joined by Liberty Nation's Legal Affairs editor, Mr. Scott DeCrescenzo. Welcome, Scott.
Hi, Mark.
Now, Scott, I want you to tell me, but perhaps not tell my achy, breaky heart, what is this new venture that Billy Ray Cyrus's daughter, Miley Cyrus, apparently she's very famous, has gotten herself involved in?
Your ignorance on the matter is funny. This is not a story about Miley Cyrus. She's an investor, and this is a major marijuana story in America, Mark. That's what this story's about. It's about a Amsterdam-style cannabis cafe opening, the first of its kind in the United States. And Miley Cyrus happens to be an investor in it.
Cannabis controversy is
okay. So you say this is the first of its kind in the United States. Why is that? Why haven't these things opened before?
Well, it's because of the complicated legal status of marijuana in the United States, which is to say that it's absolutely 100% in all ways, shapes, and no matter what form it takes, illegal under our federal law. It is a federal crime to possess any marijuana, much less have a marijuana store or a farm for marijuana. But it's legal in many states. So the state governments will not prosecute those endeavors. But those businesses have to operate under the guise of state law. And state law and local law have not before allowed for this kind of Amsterdam-style cafe. West Hollywood is the city where it's going to open, and that city government has permitted this type of business. So that's why it has taken, I think 2012 was the first instance of legal marijuana in the United States to be used recreationally. And now here we are, 2019, for the first legal on-site cannabis use establishment.
Well, yeah, I mean, it seems to me there's a little bit of a juxtaposition here, considering this is in California, because as far as I'm aware, places in California, especially places like Beverly Hills, are having a major crackdown on any kind of smoking. Like in Beverly Hills, it's illegal to smoke on the streets, and even to purchase tobacco, I believe, except, of course, unless you're Arnold Schwarzenegger in his very exclusive, very private cigar club.
Yes, Mark, it's true. There have been many just remarkable restrictions on smoking tobacco, cigarettes in California, in public places and private clubs. And private places, actually, is the way to say it, right? Public and private places. So this does, it's funny. This I hadn't thought of the smoking, the actual combustible smoke angle for this, but that's maybe there's wow, that's fascinating. I don't know if they're going to have like a bubble like kind of scenario where the employees aren't supposed to go or anything like that. It's interesting. We'll have to see how they handle that part of it.
Yes, I obviously did a little bit of research on this before talking to you about it, and it says they have an outdoors patio.
Yes,
area
they do.
So apparently that would get past the building regulations of having people smoking within buildings.
Yeah, from the regulator's perspective, I think that's actually more challenging because there are private, you mentioned actually Governor Schwarzenegger's club, which is a private cigar smoking club. There are private clubs that offer smoking indoors. They have mitigation systems that, basically are these smoke eaters, and they work very well at the high end. But for outdoors, that presents itself, quite a different problem. I think there's a synagogue across the street that had some concerns about, lit marijuana being smoked all day long there. Obviously, is not a desirable neighbor necessarily. So the outdoor part is a little bit more challenging to me. Yeah, if it's one thing that California will do, it's ban that expression. But for now, anyway, in West Hollywood, they're going to be open.
So what is the status of marijuana laws in the U.S. at the moment?
Mark, again, federally, it's illegal everywhere. There's no legal marijuana in the sense of the federal law. In various states, we're now, it might be a third. I have to do the math on this, but in some not insignificant number of states, marijuana is legal for use and sale. It's not legal to be used openly, generally speaking, anywhere in the United States, but in many states you can go buy marijuana. In another, and then the other lion's share of states, it's legal only for those with a prescription. And those prescriptions are either fantastically easy to get, in some places, just the complaining of having trouble getting to sleep or social anxiety or something like that. And then in other places, yeah, right. Well, that's actually serious for some folks. I mean, something that really is just like, that makes me feel better. And then in some places you have to have a significant medical doctor documented wasting disease, for instance. So it is across the board, radically different from place to place in the United States presently.
Now, what do you think the scope going forward is? Because presumably states have the power to decriminalize under state law and local law. But do you think that the federal law will catch up with the state's laws, or is there still too much pushback for it to become anywhere near a federally recognized thing?
I think that the moneyed interests with the larger production facilities in the states where it's legal will push federal legalization, at least for those operations that are operating legally under state law. The situation that we have now includes large organizations that can't use our banking system because banks are afraid to open accounts for them, as well they should be. They're operating in violation of federal law, and banks are generally federally chartered. So there are many stumbling blocks to marijuana being treated as akin to other legal businesses in the states where it's legal. But I think that as the financial pressure builds up, those people will buy politicians' mark to see that the law is passed in their favor rather than against them.
Scott, thank you very much, and remember to tell your Aunt Louise, tell anything you please. Thank you for joining us and filling us in on this. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Mark.
And thank you to you at home for watching. We hope you learned a little something. If you enjoyed it, click the subscribe button down below, or head over to libertynation.com, where we've got more TV, radio, podcasts, and interviews. Hope to see you soon.